Okay, boys. Here's the science experiment.
Jake, I'm not sure you know what you're doing.
No, I do. I spent that 1 year of college as a biochemistry major, remember?
Oh, sure, Jake. Yeah, real full-fledged scientist you are.
Makes sense to me.
You gotta be kidding me.
So, you pour this gunpowder on the ground.
Whoa. Wait, where did you get that?
Made it.
Wait.
Then, you throw this iron pyrite at it, and that's how you make a rocket. Welcome to Supersons. I'm Jake, and as always, I'm here with my brother Dan. Dan, how the hell are you?
I'm great. So today we're trying something new. So we're branching out from covering a DC Comics topic to covering something different. The reason for this is moving forward, we're going to be doing this a lot more. We're trying to branch out in what we're covering. As we've come further and further in our process and all that kind of stuff, we've realized that we're only covering a small sect for approachability and accessibility. While it's awesome that we love DC Comics and all that kind of stuff, there's so much more out there that doesn't have the accessibility that we'd like. There's a lot of gatekeeping, things like that, and we want to work to remove that.
I mean, there's also stigma.
Yeah, there's a lot more coming soon, like more announcements we'll be having, but we're testing this out. We're just going to get the waters warm before we actually switch over to covering all things. Don't worry, we'll still be covering DC Comics as well, but we'll be able to branch out into some other stuff like, let's say, anime, like we're covering today, which is Jake's
Which is
realm.
why I mentioned stigma.
And then we'll be covering different publishers, things like that. This will also allow us to have more interviews and bring different news to you guys bring different news to y'all with like different sorts of things. So we're just trying to open more doors instead of keeping us in one room. So with all of that, Jake, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about Dr. Stone as in the anime version of it, because we watched episodes 1 through 6, which is the prologue saga plus one episode. So I really love this show because it's just great to have something that does not resort to punching.
So full disclosure, I'm not a big anime person, and Jake knows this because he's a huge anime person. A lot of it doesn't land well with me. Like, I don't really care for the comedy or like the outbursts, and like there's certain nuances and things in anime that I just do not care for. But there are some, like I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. Like, I've watched most of the original big trilogies with not trilogies, the big bad guy things like Cell, Frieza, and Boo. I watched all that. But Jake finally convinced me to watch Naruto, and I think that's the only anime I've watched like 100 plus episodes of. I'm not done, and I still need to finish the original series, but I'm slowly trying more and more. Like, I liked Psychopaths, which was neat. I think I like more serious stuff because I don't think the comedy lands for me in these types of shows.
Yeah, it's a cultural difference.
Yeah, it's just not for me. Like, they're pretty much all of my friends like anime. It's just me who's just like, I understand the appeal of it. It's just not for me. With all of that being said, I don't want to come in at this like I'm thinking negatively, because I actually really enjoyed the show. So, Jake, tell us about the characters.
All right, so there's Senku, who in the English dub, which is what we watched, is voiced by Aaron Dismuke?
Dismuke? Sure.
Dismuke? Yeah. Who is the brains of the series, the protagonist. He is very cold and calculated. He was raised by his adoptive astronaut father in a world of science. His father wanted to be an astronaut more than everything. So did Senku. So his father decided to give him whatever he could. So he literally sold his car and bought a bunch of science stuff just so he could learn.
Huh.
And then there's what were you gonna say, Dan?
Yeah, I think, as I texted you earlier, I don't like Senku. Like, he's very apathetic to the world around him.
You mean best protagonist in an anime series of 2019 award winner?
Yeah, I do know.
Senku?
He started getting better as the series went on. But for the first couple episodes, I was like, this is just anime version of Rick from Rick and Morty, and I do not like him.
No, he is a lot.
No,
he is a lot more.
He gets good.
Yeah, no,
He
I know what
gets
you're
good.
talking about. The first few episodes, he's kind of insulting his best friend Taiju, who is voiced by Rico Fajardo. Fajardo, yeah. You'll guys will notice that I know how to pronounce Japanese names pretty well, but
Yeah, Jake's covering
every
that
other.
part.
Yeah. So he's Senku's childhood best friend and the big oaf with all of the brawn in this situation.
I like him. Like, he's got a lot of personality, but as I said, he does those like tropes I do not like. But the way Senku treats him for like the first couple episodes, I was just
I thought
I
you
hate this.
I thought you would like him a little more because he kind of reminds me of Rock Lee.
No. I don't think he has.
That's how he reminded me.
Yeah,
of.
he doesn't have the kind of heart that Rock Lee, kind of like he won't stand down to anything, but like this guy isn't really like a
Well, he's more of a pacifist.
yeah. I liked him. Like he later episodes I understood. Like things started clicking. But who else is in the show?
Yeah. And then I'm doing this in order of people who get revived from the stone. So it is Tsukasa, who is voiced by Ian Sinclair. And I can pronounce Sinclair.
Congrats.
Yep. And he came from a tough upbringing that shaped him into someone who was willing to wield his beliefs and his physical power to shape the world into something he thinks is better, which is, for him, a survival of the fittest, only the young and good-hearted, and he will go to any lengths to make sure that the greedy, evil adults from their original time do not come back, and that means even destroying them. And then...
Yeah, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, he's going to be a bad guy, isn't he? So I was kind of upset with that because I really liked him, and then he was like, oh yeah, here's all my beliefs. And I was like, oh no, I'm good.
I will get back to him when we get into the second half of the episode. So then there's also Yuzuriha, who's voiced by Brittany Lauda. She is the craft master of the stone world, of the kingdom of science, and she's also Taiju's love interest. She doesn't do too much, but she's smart, quick-witted. She understands what to do when she needs to do something. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a big problem I have with like the animes that I've seen, that the female characters are written like terribly, like without not being the lead. Yeah.
There's actually a ton of anime that the female characters are the lead, and they get. I think and the rest of the show, one of the most dominating voices is one of the female characters.
That's good. And then how about the actual creative teams? Because there's multiple. Because you got the manga, the show, and the English dubs.
For just a note for everybody, all the names that we're going to be read as their given name, then their family name, whereas in Japan, the family name is first when you say them out loud. So for Westerners would call the current Prime Minister of Japan Shinzo Abe, but he would be known, and he wants to be known as Abe Shinzo. And they're only like this because I pulled them off of Wikipedia. The ultimate source of all information. So, the manga was written by Riichiro Inagaki, and it is illustrated by Boichi, and the anime adaptation was by TMS Entertainment, and the show's first season was directed by Shinya Ino. And it was written for TV by Yurichiro Kito. And all the English dubbing license is held by Funimation.
I know. So I watched it with both subtitles, and like I use subtitles for everything, no matter what I'm watching. It's not weird to me. It's just always cool to know that there's like every different country has different voice actors. So like I wouldn't know any of the regular people, but
So what I follow Funimation and Crunchyroll on like Instagram. So I like to play a little game every time there's a voice actor's birthday. They say happy birthday to them and they list all their characters in like a little grid, and I just check off which shows I've seen or if I recognize them, their characters.
yeah, like when I first heard, you remember, I think it was in one of the DBZ games when I first heard Goku's actual voice compared to the one that I know.
Yeah.
I was
the older woman.
Yeah, I was like, what? That's not Goku. And I was like, oh, wait, my Goku is very different than everyone else's Goku.
Yeah, so I mean, you're also have seen Naruto. I don't know if you've seen the commercial, but you've seen Naruto's voice actress
Where?
in the State Farm commercials.
What?
The short redheaded woman.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, she's been on a commercial. Yeah,
Huh.
it's in like a parking garage. She's wearing, I think, a red.
I'll have to go back and
State
watch it.
Farm jacket.
So, Jake, what is your... So, we'll be doing these from now on. Instead of giving you some, like, full summary podcast, have you noticed the last 2 episodes, we're going to be giving you sort of an elevator pitch. So, like, what this series is to get you interested, and then you can go check it out. And we'll tell you if you, like, what other things you may like to compare it to and such. But we'll be doing elevator pitches instead of full summaries, just so you can actually go and enjoy the thing. And then you can come back after you finished it and then listen to our discussion about it. So you get a little 2-parter. It's like when you crack the Oreo open and then you eat the cream and then you eat the rest of the cookie. Bam. Substance.
Yeah. Or you can just listen to us talk and then, be confused.
Whatever makes you happy.
Yeah. Whatever gets you going. All right, so do you ever get sick and tired of things always being settled by punching? Oh, hey, me too. Dr. Stone's got the cure for you. Follow Senko and his Kingdom of Science as they use scientific advancements to revive the world after a mysterious event known as the petrification that turned everyone into stone for 3,700 years.
That's a good pitch. So, Jake, what are some of the themes to this series?
Science, education, community.
And who made this before? Like, no, that's not the phrasing. Who would like this show? There you go. That's close enough.
Well, if you like shonen anime, and shonen stands for both a demographic and a style of like fun, adventure, action shows, which is most of Toonami. I say this is a great one to go on if you like manga, you go to that route. But when you put that who might like this, I was thinking to myself, the guy who wrote this series, his big manga work before this was about football.
What?
Yeah,
Football as in soccer, or football as in American football?
American football.
Huh.
It's called Eye Shield.
Isn't there one about tennis that's like really big?
Yes, Prince of Tennis.
There we go. See? I know some stuff.
And then there's a volleyball one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good sports ones.
Yeah. Manga has
I like
that
music
range.
anime.
I think comics have it, but it's not as mainstream as it is with
Yeah.
Like I see the cooking anime all the time. Like always on clips on like Twitter and the YouTubes.
Well, yeah, you don't see, well, at least publishers taking those types of work seriously in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would be hard pressed to see this really survive in an American audience with just from a comics perspective.
Yeah, I think it's treated with different levels of maturity. Like Japan has their animation isn't just comedy. Like they treat it as a real thing.
For kids. Yeah. Like a lot of it's not just for kids. It's it's treated as an actual art form by the public at large. Mm-hmm. Of course, there is still stigma in Japan about manga and anime, but yeah, it's
gonna be everywhere. It's better than the US.
I have
it's changing, but
yeah, I have a manga that I got for a literal penny online for a class. I still have it somewhere, and it's about the Japanese economy and their economic bubble burst in the 1980s, late 1980s.
See,
and how Reagan capitalized.
Oh God.
Yeah, your favorite president, Dan, Ronald Reagan.
I hate Ronald Reagan. I do not want to get started on Ronald Reagan on this podcast, but it'll be 3 hours of me screaming into my mic about how much I hate him.
Also, the alien from the Alien franchise was in it.
Huh. But yeah,
and it was in a strip club.
So okay. But yeah. So America just hasn't really removed that. The stigma is much more there. Like, people think cartoons and comics are for kids. It's slowly getting there with all the movies and stuff. But where can people find this?
So you can find it, whether you like the dub, you can watch it on Funimation's streaming service or on Adult Swim's Toonami block. That happens like every Saturday. Every Saturday night.
The UI for Funimation is incredible. Like, it may be the first. Like, I was thinking about this the other day about how much I do not.
What did you watch it on?
I used Funimation. So
no, what like device?
PlayStation, then the TV. They're very similar.
They're slightly different in how you fast forward and stuff.
Yeah, but they're both, the UI is so, like, I was watching HBO, then I was on Netflix or whatever. All of their user interfaces are terrible. Why has no streaming service done a good user interface? And then I got to Funimation, I was like, wow, this is really clean and like moves like quick and it doesn't slow down every like 3 seconds. Love it.
Yeah, and it's they update their selection every day.
Yeah. But where can people find this stuff? Oh yeah, it has a ton of
Crunchyroll.
What? So Crunchyroll, they're just two different companies, right? Funimation is like the actual company that owns a lot of the stuff.
So Funimation is one of a few different companies that does dubs, the dub licensing. And Crunchyroll, they've done a few dubs of their own. I think it's Tower of God that they're doing. They just did. I think that's what it's called. But there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. So Crunchyroll almost always, is hooked up with the sub rights. So they just, they license out the subs. Funimation, you can also watch the subs on, and I think they both, have a deal of some sort. And I also think they have a deal. I think Funimation has a deal with Hulu. I'm not sure I think that happened before the Disney thing.
And then where can you find the manga?
So most bookstores have a manga or in graphic novel section, but you know who has a great manga section? Third Eye Comics. And they also have a great website. They're not even paying us.
Not at all. I have to send that email to interview their owner so he can come on the show. But so
who knows if he even wants us to talk about this?
Yeah, I mean, we're free advertisement for literally everybody. We don't make any money. So,
please send us money. My kids need to eat. Jake,
wait,
you don't have kids.
No, you do.
What?
Do you remember? So when I was off being a supervillain, you had a family, but you left them to come back to the podcast.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We've never followed up on that family, Jake. So we're gonna get on to the next part of the episode. If you don't,
is my family dead?
If you don't want spoilers for the first 6 episodes of Dr. Stone, feel free to turn it off right now. I'm gonna give you a little interlude between this episode and the discussion. Let me get ready for this. I don't. So one of the biggest things about anime is they always have great theme songs.
I was literally just writing that.
And I don't know the words to this one, but I do know Fighting Dreamers. And now I'm chickening out of singing it because all I know is we are fighting dreamers, fighting dreamers, and I just go my way at some point. But there you go. There's the interlude before the spoiler part of the episode. So if you're still at this part and heard me sing those words, I'm sorry. One day we will cover Naruto because I just want to talk about Rock Lee and how he's the best anime character other than Frieza. And we'll be there one day. One day we'll get to cover Dragon Ball Z, and then all bets are off, because big Dragon Ball Z guy over here. Except I don't really know much. I just know it's cool and they punch people and stuff.
You mean like how that one represented Senate candidate who was like, hey, Dragon Ball Z is pornographic.
Yeah. I actually, the other day we were sitting on the balcony and the TV was on and Dragon Ball Z was playing, but Scarlett wouldn't let me go inside. So I sat out there drinking a beer, watching Dragon Ball Z from my balcony.
Why didn't she let you inside?
Because we were sitting out there having dinner and I was like, no, I want to go inside and watch Dragon Ball Z. She goes, no, we're sitting out here. But
so she held you hostage.
yeah, it wasn't a lot, but I ended up watching it. I watched it through the door. It was the episode where Gohan goes Super Saiyan 2 and does the father-son Kamehameha and kills Cell.
Oh, you mean the best episode?
Yeah, one of the greatest episodes of all time. But back to Dr. Stone. Wow, we're an anime podcast now. Good for us.
So I guess we can talk about, since we already mentioned it, the opener and closing music. How do you feel about it?
Not great. It's not good. I didn't like these. I didn't care for them. They were not as good as any of the Naruto ones that I've heard. The opening animation, like the cinematic, is better. Like I really enjoyed that.
It's really good.
And I really liked the lettering on all of the words, but I did not like the song. So the song was lackluster, but the rest of it made up for it.
And then there's the title page, the episode title sequence. And then there's the
closing song was
the setup
better.
for the closing one where they do like a little sciencey thing.
Yeah, so it seems like anime has a lot of filler at the beginning and ends of every episode to kind of like pad out the timing. Maybe it's,
there's often like a cold open of what happened last time or something else.
Yeah, it feels like filler, and then the end like gives you a big preview of the next episode.
And then there's also a lot, and if they don't give you a big preview, they'll give you like a little closing post credit scene.
Yeah, that I wish I could.
Which
skip
also
that.
I accidentally skip all the time.
I wish I could. I don't even care. I wish I could just skip it. They do it in Naruto too, and I'm like, I don't need this. Just give me the next episode. Just keep feeding.
Yeah, because they'll normally cover it in Naruto.
But coming to this from a non-anime fan like point of view, I actually really enjoyed it. And your first point is about the experiments. So I was texting you. I was saying that I actually, if this didn't have the science elements and like all that extra layering, then I would have I wouldn't have enjoyed it, because like it had
and the science is legit. Like they're like, oh yeah. So they always have a disclaimer that says, hey, all the foraging, science, and all their stuff is real. So, but don't try it at home because it may be illegal where you live.
Yeah, I think that gives it such an interesting perspective. Like it makes such an interesting show that I'm like, I'm fine to keep watching it. I actually enjoyed going through these 6 episodes and continuing. But you want to talk
as soon as we were watching through them, I went back. This is my third watch through. As after finishing the first season, and there's a second season on the way, and it comes out in January. I went back and rewatched the entire thing to have a better scope of everything.
How many episodes is the first season?
24.
Okay,
which isn't an uncommon number for that kind of stuff.
Okay, so let's talk about the experiments.
So one of the first...
Let's get into like the fact that everyone turned to stone. We probably should start with that. We've glazed over it a little bit. We talked about it for a minute, but like literally every human on Earth has turned to stone.
Every human and every swallow.
Yeah. Did they ever get into why the swallows don't...
I have been actively trying to avoid looking at the wiki. I know the arcs are the secret of the petrification. I know what the next big arc is for the anime. And yeah, so they're going to tackle the petrification. And you saw Kohaku, who is the biggest female character in the show. But the end of the 6th episode, right?
Yes, I think so.
So you're probably wondering, how does she come back? How does she get into this situation?
Yeah.
And that'll get answered.
Okay. But yeah, it was it was a really cool concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about the experiments.
So the experiments. The first one I had listed is wine and brandy. Dan, did you know about that? Did you know how that's? I mean, I think you knew how wine was made.
Yeah, I know how brandy was made too.
I think everyone knows. Okay,
but it was really cool to see it. Like, I really enjoyed the fact that they didn't just like, oh, we made this. They like showed you how they made it, which was awesome. Because then they talk about, they're like, yeah, this would have been illegal.
Yeah, and later in the show, they bring up one of the other experiments, but they don't show you everything again. They're like, yeah, we showed you this once. That's the only time they're going to skip over the process. Then I think it actually happened when they were making one of the next things. But so the next thing I'm going to talk about is the revival fluid, which is the alcohol plus bat guano, which is just nitric acid.
Yeah,
and
it's pretty cool.
It's a real agent, which is for etching stone. And I mean, I think that's the only thing that's less than scientific. I mean, it has to fit the
people turning into
premise.
stone, Jake, or
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
because that I'll be honest with you, I don't think that's scientifically accurate.
I don't know, dude. You know about Medusa?
Medusa?
You know about this? You know the snake lady, snake hair.
Jake, are you saying that Medusa is real?
She's a real looker.
Wow. Okay.
I held in my laughter.
Well, yeah, okay.
No, she's not real.
All right, just making sure we're on the same page that Medusa, the Gorgon, is not real.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clear it up. I just wanted to clear the water to make sure that you did not believe that Medusa was real.
Yeah. So, and then there's the four things that they were making with I think it was calcium carbonate.
Lime.
Yeah, limestone. And it was soap, mortar, agriculture, and gunpowder.
I love that he lied. He was like, oh, no, I said 3, not 4. Because the bad guy was like, oh, hey, what? You said there was 4, right? And he goes, nah, JK, LOL. Unless. And then they use it later to defeat him. Well, not really. Because his buddy won't ever hurt anybody. He just like lets them pummel on him. Yeah, I want to talk about the crossbow that he's like, oh, my last bet. And he pulls this crossbow out, and this dude all like, he shoots. So let me pull, the names don't stick with me because my brain. So Senku shoots the bolt at Tsukasa. And Tsukasa, and he like straight up like think spins, grabs a lot of. Think about our buddy Z-Chun. Okay, you
don't really pronounce that T.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So he grabs it, spins it, and throws it into the ground. And I'm like, for being so grounded, there is some real bullshit in this. Because like he grabbed that thing like it was nobody's business.
Yeah, well, he's supposed to be like the
superhuman. He's like...
He's the something primate high schooler.
They're in high school. That also is another reason I was like, okay. Like, they're all in high school and he can do all this stuff. Like, I get that he studied his whole life, but, like, he's, like, a super genius. And this guy... The ultimate primate high schooler. Like, what? You couldn't have done a better, like, name?
Yeah, that didn't translate
it didn't translate well.
Like sometimes you'll get something that's adjacent, like in Black Clover, you have the guy on top of the Magic Knights is the Wizard King, but those words don't translate to that from Japanese. And in the manga it's like Sorcerer Emperor, or in the I think the actual manga translation changes to Wizard King. Oh. But yeah, it's like Sorcerer Emperor. It doesn't sound as great in English.
So the other day when I texted you about it, you said that they had won a award for character design, and I just don't agree in the slightest. Other than the lion suit that the bad guy wears.
No, it was nominated for.
Oh, okay, because it shouldn't have won. I'm sorry, but like these costumes were not. They were made from what they had, which makes total sense. But it was nothing like groundbreaking.
Yeah, no, the only two that really have good designs are Senku and Tsukasa from the arc that you've seen.
Yeah. It's not
Like Taiju doesn't really have a big design. He just kind of wears a brown tunic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Zuriha has a little more, but I think the main design concept of at least the people who get revived is the fact that they have like cracks in their face in their skin.
Yeah, it's very anime-y. It's interesting to look at, and I'm glad they touched on it. It wasn't just like there to be there, because they talk about how it's actual cracks.
Mm-hmm.
Because for a while I thought it was just going to be not talked about at all.
Yeah, so that's the I think that's what earned it. I really think Senku has a great design. It's simple, and Tsukasa has a great design too. But you haven't seen everybody yet, so I can't really say too much.
Yeah,
but a lot of people just wear tunics.
Which makes sense because like they don't really have anything. But honestly, I think the biggest part of the show is the premise. Like coming at it during a pandemic and like with all this fear and stuff right now, like I don't really want to watch things about the apocalypse, but this apocalypse wasn't zombies or sadness. It was like the world is overgrown.
I think in America where a lot of people are just scoffing at the science.
Yeah. And having a show about...
Of course, that's not just America. That's everywhere. Yeah. There's always going to be people who don't understand or don't want to understand.
So, it was interesting to see that it's not... Like, people are trying to bring back humanity and things, and having it be lush green, like the earth is kind of healed from the damage we've done to it. It's a lot more interesting than, like, everything is destroyed, it's a desolate wasteland, and all you see is sand. Like...
And the only thing that... after the 3,700 years that we've seen still standing is a giant Buddha.
Yeah. But like, having...
Which I think is a Buddha and not a Bodhisattva. Yeah, it's a Buddha.
Yeah. Yeah, but having all of that is a lot more interesting than like a Mad Max type future. Like I've seen enough of those. So having something that's completely different was like, I really enjoyed it. Like that is what kept me going along with the science, is that they had these two very different, unique angles to it.
Yeah. Cause you mentioned that you didn't like Senku's personality.
No, he's annoying. Yeah, I don't like everyone gets really loud and yells, and there's like different colored backgrounds. Like it does not land with me, and it just annoys me. Like I understand the appeal, but it's not what I'm looking for. Sitting down to watch animes are usually.
I've mentioned this before. The Dragon Ball approach to anime, where it's comedy at first to get you to like the characters, and then they go into the more serious stuff.
Yeah, like anime has so much to offer that I'm like, eventually we'll find things that I like. Like Psycho Pass I really enjoyed because it's very dark.
Did you ever finish that?
No, I have to restart it because it's been so long.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've recently watched. I rewatched it recently, and I finally got around to watching the movie, and they announced a third season.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, what was the other one I watched? Tiger and Bunny. Yeah. I think I watched that on my own too. I really liked Tiger and Bunny because it was like stuff I like. My Hero Academia is cool, but it feels more like parodies of things that I like, rather like satire rather than its own universe. Which
I think in the beginning it could feel like that because, like I mentioned, the Dragon Ball approach. It's a little more funny in the beginning.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, that has a lot of heart to it.
Yeah, I loved Tiger and Bunny. Like that was one I'm super pumped for season 2. But yeah, I think it's a very unique story. And I think a lot of like people love it clearly because I've seen a lot of people talk about it. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot of that comedy doesn't work. It's just not my comedy. But you said it gets more serious. So I may continue and try to get past it. But you also said it won some awards or were nominated for awards too.
Yes, so the manga won the Shogakukan Manga Award. I want to say I said that right, but the second half of that word kind of threw me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it went for Best Shonen Series of 2019. And for the Crunchyroll anime awards, it won for Best Protagonist and was nominated for Best Score and Best Character Design. And the score as in, like, not like the opening and closing,
like
we already talked about.
the regular music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did notice that in some of the scenes. I was really enjoying the music.
Yeah, I was I kept on watching. I think I'm on episode like 12.
You are, because I saw it on there.
Yeah, so I mean, you said you had a lot of problems with pronouncing the character names. Luckily for a lot of them,
it's not pronouncing; it's just being able to retain the names.
Retain. Yeah. So a lot of them are not pronouncing. But yeah, so some of the names coming up are going to be really easy for you. Like maybe you may not remember Kohaku, but a couple of the villagers are called. One of the main ones is called Chrome, and a lot of them are just named after rocks.
Yeah, it makes sense.
The two village guards are named Kinro and Ginro, and that's gold and silver. Then there's Magma.
That's the name of a character?
Yes.
Okay.
They're all named after rocks.
Sure.
For this village.
Okay. Yeah, whatever. Makes sense.
There's Topaz, Sapphire, and all that stuff.
But yeah, overall, I actually really enjoyed it. And I hope people listening enjoyed it too. If this is your cup of tea. I think I may enjoy when we do cover things like Gundam more, just because I do like political thrillers, and you said religious stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot more religious stuff. It's so a lot of the franchise just has.
Yeah, you don't have to get into it now, just because we're gonna have.
Yeah, it's. I could go on for a couple hours, as I've almost watched the entirety of Gundam this year alone.
Yeah, but I think as we do this more, I will find things I like. Yeah, it's just some of it's not for me, and that's fine. Like when I was younger, I hated it. Like I hated everything because I was just angry all the time. But now I'm like an adult, and I dealt with all my.
Where did that anger come from? Did someone like make fun of you for like liking Dragon Ball Z or something?
No, I was just an angry person because I internalized everything and never talked about anything because societal roles. So you said you weren't allowed to talk about your emotions, so I dealt with my depression in silence. So a lot of the things I said I hated, I didn't really hate. I just didn't give it time. Like I was just a very unhappy person until the last couple of years. So I'm more willing to try these things and understand. Like if it's not for me, it's not for me. Like I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to binge. What is it? How many pieces? How many pieces is One Piece? 800 episodes?
Yeah, no. One Piece is something else. Listen, I mean, it starts really, really slow.
I'm not going to watch 800 episodes of anything unless it's like me rewatching Malcolm in the Middle for the 400th time. But,
yeah, like I had the benefit of watching Naruto from the beginning.
Yeah, and you get years of it. Like you have years to break this stuff out.
Yeah, like it's not as bingeable.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm also binge watching Gundam, as I've already mentioned, and that's 40 years of like 900 episodes of something.
Yeah. So, yeah, check it out. Jake, what are you reading or doing in your everyday life?
Well, I've mentioned I'm watching through Gundam and no, not Gundam Wing.
Gundam Wing is the only, like, it's in my head as that's the name of the entire franchise. Gundam.
Yeah, I know. I think it's a lot of people.
Because that's how, that's the most popular, was the most popular one when I was growing up.
Well, that's the one that brought it to America. But also, it's not great. Sorry, everybody. It's not great. But, so that, I just bought the, what's it called? Green Lantern Legacies, whatever is the YA graphic novel of it. Yeah. I haven't read it yet, but I'm really excited to.
I am reading, I've owned it for a long time, but I haven't sat down to get to read it. I just pulled it out yesterday when I was on the phone. The David Bowie Stardust Ray Guns and Moon Age Daydreams by Mike Allred, Steve Horton, and Laura Allred. If there's one person on the planet Earth who should draw the story of David Bowie, it's the Allreds.
And then I think his son Han actually did a documentary about him. about Mike Allred.
Did he?
And I think he followed me after I followed Mike Allred. I think his son followed me to get a follow for follow.
I'll take a look him up. Yeah, I would watch that because I love Allred's got some of the best. He did Ecstatics, like that's my favorite X-Men series. So I'm really and David Bowie is my all time. So like I'm super excited to read this finally. It's just been sitting on my shelf, and then I'm finishing Final Fantasy VII finally.
We're also both playing Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah. I'm nowhere near as far because I keep ending up playing other stuff. Because that's who I am. I can't. Oh, what is that game that I'm playing on the Switch that I love? Hold on. Oh man, I need to know the name.
Oh, Han Allred is not following me. I think he was at one point for follow, but whatever.
What is this game called? This is gonna bother me so much if I can't. Carrion. Carrion. I describe it to you as Loco Roco, but you're a giant monster. You like go around this facility eating people. It is my jam. Also, I signed back up for Shudder, the horror movie streaming service. So I'm very excited to be able to branch out into other stuff so I can talk about more horror stuff because I'm really into horror movies and all that. I also am now an editor at CBR, which is really cool. And we have an interview coming up with our friend Jordan Clark, who is doing two issues of the Aquaman ongoing. So we brought him back to chat about Aqualad. So look out for that, and you can catch us same bat time, same bat channel. I guess we're going to need a new catchphrase.